Hello, everyone, and welcome. Sorry about this alert message, alert voice. So, how are you guys? And long time I didn't go live, and today we are having a really important topic. So, if you don't know me before, my name is Amr Thabit, and I work. I'm a former malware researcher in Semantic, and now I'm working in Tenable. And this webinar will talk about penetration testing. If you have already, sorry. Hello everyone, and welcome. I need to close my own video. Um, so here, guys, I have all the chat here and everything. So if you see me looking here and reading all your messages. So today we are having a really important topic, which is the penetration testing. If you are learning penetration testing, or you already a penetration tester for a year or two or even 3 years, this presentation is very relevant to you. We'll be talking about what is the most required skills right now, because penetration testing has so many different things, from web bug hunting to infrastructure to ICS to red teaming to so many different things. What companies are looking for right now? And the answer will be, we'll look at what type of attacks they are facing, and what are exactly the right skills that can help them protect against these attacks. Hello everyone. I see Vivek saying hello, Amar. Hi, how are you? Um, so, are you guys ready? Let's get started. So, um, what I want you to get out of today is that I want you to understand what are the needed skills that can help companies defend against the current attacks right now, or the current threats. See, you as a pen tester, you are not against the company. You are not trying to hack the company. You actually try to to make this company able to protect itself against the current attacks. How you play a role into that? What's exactly your position in that? So understanding what are the required skills needs to need first to understand what are the threats that people are facing. And the reason I made this presentation today is that I see the same advice everywhere about how to learn nutrition testing. The people will tell you get CH or Security Plus or Bentest Plus, then get OSCP or eLearn security certificates or web bug hunting certificate, and then do some CTFs and some write-ups for try hack me and all of this and hack in the box, and after that you will be getting a job. And there's nothing wrong about this advice though. The problem is that everybody's doing exactly the same. People don't realize that penetration testing is the most saturated market, in one of the most saturated market in cybersecurity in general, because everybody starts with penetration testing. Even people who become a malware analyst like me, or other people who focus on other skills later on, they start in penetration testing. Everybody starts there, and everybody starts searching for a job in penetration testing. So you can imagine how many candidates compared to the job offers that are there. And penetration testing is not the type of job that's needed 24 hours per 7. It's needed testing for the security tools once every 3 months, and then they move on. Even if they are included in the process, they are not um, they are not doing penetration testing fully every single day. It doesn't happen. So how we can, if you are somebody who's learning penetration testing, how you can stand out from all this crowd? And if you are following the same exact advice that's given to every single one in penetration testing, you will not stand out, you will not be different, you will be just another resume in a list of 1000 resumes applying for the same job. And I don't want you to have that. And luckily enough that these jobs that are always these advices that are there doesn't really give the most important skills that companies are searching for. What they are searching for is a bit different than what you're learning in these trainings. There's nothing wrong about them, but what is needed right now and what the attacks they're facing right now, companies need different skills to be able to protect against ransomware attacks, for example, or ABT attacks or targeted attacks. It's not the same with using Metasploit or exploit DB or some web bug hunting. It's not the same thing. And today we'll try to cover the exact skills that you really need And the most important, how you can learn them. I will not leave you, this is the skills, these are the three skills, goodbye. I will not leave you here. I will give you all the resources that you can follow and use to learn these skills. So the let's say the tutorials, the books, the articles, how you can practice them, what are the different resources that you can use to practice these skills. And then I will also share with you like a bonus skill, which is how to promote yourself, how to promote yourself in your resume and your LinkedIn profile, so you can actually get recruiters to reach out to you, or hiring managers to reach out to you to ask you to hire them. And funny though, a guy just today I was talking with him, I think today or yesterday. Well, I forget everything he did today. Anyway, and this guy, I was like, I probably will hire this guy because I really liked what he's doing. I really liked his resume. I really liked his work. I really liked his LinkedIn profile. I'm actually thinking to ask him to work in Malta. And that is the same how I think is the same as so many hiring managers think as well. There's hiring managers like from Microsoft or from Symantec itself or from Kaspersky that reached out to me. If they're hiring managers or recruiters, why reach out to me specifically? This is what I will help you with. So if you stick at the end, I will give you this bonus skill, and as well, I will uncover my upcoming training. It's a training that will be on the end of October. I will announce it today and open the pre-order so you can join this training and actually be part of the whole thing. So um, let's get started. I will share my screen now, and here is actually the screen. So well, I forgot to share it. So is it true? Do you hear me, guys? Do you now hear me? Is there sound? Hello? Do you guys hear me now? Hello, hello? Okay, I see people started to hear me. I think if I close my camera, the sound disappears for some reason. Um, that's okay. I will keep my camera there. Um, but just look at the screen. You have the screen, you have me. So now everything is fine. People hear me. Everything is good. Okay. If it stopped, please refresh the page. Audio is back. Very good. So if it stopped, please refresh the page, and everything will continue from where we stopped. So I was just saying that In this presentation, you will learn what are the current threats that companies are facing, and what are the exact skills that can help you become different and stand out from all the people who are applying for the same job in penetration testing. And I was saying that penetration testing is a very saturated market. It's so many people, massive amount of people who wants to be working as an ethical hackers or penetration testers, but very very few who actually get hired because there's not much of there's not as many jobs as the number of candidates. Everybody started in penetration testing, so it's like 70% of people started in penetration testing somehow. And for you to stand out, you can just follow the same advice that everybody gets. CH or Security Plus, OSCP or e-learning security courses, and or web bug hunting, and then some CTFs, some try hack me, and all of this stuff. And as I said, there's nothing wrong about these trainings. They are really great trainings. They are impressive. I have studied a little bit in OSCP, and I knew that they are really great. But if you want to stand out, you can be just like everyone else. You need to have an edge, something that is more important, something that is more needed than what the skills that everybody has. And guess what? The current attacks right now that companies are facing, the skills you learn in these courses are not the ones that will help this organization protect against these attacks. And I will show you exactly why. So this is for ethical hackers, mutation testers, for red teamers, for bug bounty hunters, for someone who's starting in cybersecurity, or even somebody who is professional, have been in the offensive side for 2 3 years working in a company. This presentation is still very relevant to you. So let's get started. My name is Amr Thabit. I'm a former malware researcher in Semantic, and now I'm vulnerability engineer in Tenable. I'm the author of Mastering Malware Analysis and the speaker in DEF CON, VB Conference, AthCon Conference in Athens, and others. Um, so, so people ask me, what do I have to do with penetration testing being coming from malware side? Well, I actually started with ethical hacking before malware analysis. I was reading Web Application Hackers Handbook. I solved different vulnerable machines. I studied with a friend of mine, OSCP. He was taking the OSCP and I was helping him with the OSCP machines and labs. And I learned so many tools along the way. And I learned so many tools in Kali Linux. I learned Metasploit, Nessus, which is what I'm working on currently, SQL Map, and so many other tools. And I was really dedicated into that field. And then at some point, I shifted to malware analysis, and I started working later on. I started working in semantic. And when I worked in Semantic, I worked in a team called the Attack Investigation Team. And this team basically tracked the top hackers all over the world, from NSA and Russia and North Korea to professional hackers for hire to all the different groups around the world. And we track like how they deliver their attack, how they evolve along the years. We track them for years, seeing every single attack they do. And as a company like Semantic, we do have sensors everywhere from big organizations like Sony and different banks and everywhere. We're seeing these attacks, how they move from one machine to another inside all of these organizations. And the thing here that when I saw their attacks, I was really shocked because they looked completely different from anything I have been learning in all of these different courses. They are not like all of this. They are not using Kali Linux or Metasploit and exploiting different things and Nmap to see all the vulnerable machines or all the operating system and the services are running. They are not doing all of this. They're actually completely different. And I realized that if these companies are facing these attacks and these attacks are always successful, penetration testing should have been completely different. They should have been trying to protect against these attacks. And you learn something when you go you go through like in malware analysis or in incident response or in blue team. You discover that blue team and red team or offensive and defensive, they are two sides of the same coin. We are both trying to protect an organization against specific types of attacks. If you want to protect against ransomware attacks or target ransomware attacks where every company is now facing, and it's the trending threat that they are trying to protect against. You need to be testing against these attacks as a penetration tester. You need to know what are the weaknesses the organization have or has, to be able to test these weaknesses, and as well show the organization if they do have these weaknesses that can allow a ransomware attack to happen. So so this is the main thing. What are the techniques that are used by the attackers nowadays, and what are the ways you can simulate them as a penetration tester? Not to just do what everybody does with nmap and then metasploit or exploit db and then find some collection of exploits and or collection of weaknesses and give them a report with them. You are misguiding them, because this is not how the attackers will get through this organization. These will spend so much effort fixing these bugs while or fixing these vulnerabilities, where the attackers will come through a completely different way, and they will still run the ransomware and will still cost the company millions of dollars. So what I understood, that you need a completely different set of penetration testing skills to protect your organization against current attacks. The thing here is that most of the APT attacks right now relies on social engineering and malware. People don't know that, but every advanced attack, every target attack has a completely different malware. They are not using Meterpreter and Metasploit. They are not using the known tools that you see everywhere. They are using specific tools they have written by themselves to be able to hack this organization. They are using spear phishing techniques and social engineering to get through step by step. And when they are inside the organization, they are using valid accounts, moving with them from one machine to another, escalate privilege, move laterally inside the organization, and most importantly, they evade defenses. They evade also the SOC team, the blue team, and all this defense team that are there in the organization, which in penetration testing you don't usually try to test them. APT attacks excel in bypassing detection, hide their tracks as they go. And it is something you don't learn as a penetration tester. You learn as a penetration tester that when you are performing penetration testing, the organization already knows about it. They don't try to stop you. They know that you are there, and you even know they know about you. So you don't try to hide your tracks. You don't learn how to do so. You're lacking so many skills that actually EBT attacks excels in them. So if you want to actually protect an organization, you really need to think like the attacker. You really need to be in his shoes, exactly do what he's doing. And that's unfortunately a skill that the 90% of British testers don't have. And that's what we are talking about today. So I learned that most of professionals that I saw, including myself and others, that advance in their career and become indispensable in their own organization, they become like that through understanding fully the real threats that companies are facing right now. My experience in semantic really helped me a lot to understand what's actually happening in the real world. And that's what I want to hope you get from this presentation, and probably shift your direction, shift your roadmap, your plan for building your career a little bit to the right skills that you need to invest on. So let's get into these three most important skills. Before we actually get into it, I just remember now, we will look at the prerequisites that you need to have first before actually start learning penetration testing and actually dive deeper into all of this. Because probably some of you guys are already just started in cybersecurity in general, don't know what exactly you should be doing. So I'll give you all the prerequisites that you need to learn before you dive into ethical hacking or penetration testing. So let's get into that. Any questions so far? Um, Somebody has asked, semantic pays well. Well, they did pay very well. but now I don't know what happened to them. I left Semantic long time ago, but now they are bought by Broadcom, and I don't know what happened with them after. But yeah, they did pay very well. I was happy to have them. Um, so let's dive into the prerequisites. So the first skills you need to have is Windows administration skills, and there's no need for certifications. You just need to understand how to use virtualization like VMware or VirtualBox. You need to understand how to change an IP or like the basic stuff: what's registry, what's process, what's thread, what is a service, how to change services, what are scheduled tasks, and so on. Um, and you need to learn some networking skills. Not, I mean, networking with other employees, but I mean the network protocols like TCP, UDP, IP, HTTP, DNS. These are the most important protocols that you need to learn. You need to understand how the network packet looks like, how to analyze a bcap file or a packet capture file using Wireshark to understand what happened in the network when you are doing something. This is some basic skills that will help you either in blue team or red team if you are just started in cybersecurity. It's important as well to get the very fundamentals. Security Plus can give you kind of the material of it on CH, can give you the material of the basics, and it's a good start. And as I told you, there's nothing wrong with these trainings. It's just they are not what will make you have the edge in cybersecurity. It will not make you be the from the top 5% applying for any job. They will just get you the fundamentals really well. So I do recommend them. We also have a training called Kickstart Your Cybersecurity Career, which is a good intro into cybersecurity as well. You can also check that out. And optionally, understanding the operating system internals, mainly, of course, Windows, and Linux is the second thing. Understanding also the Linux commands could be a really good add into your career in that direction. And the most important here is that whatever you're learning, focus on the concepts, not the products. So many people who are in SOC specifically, they are pushed into learning the products, learn how to use Trend Micro, how to use this and how to use that tool. And people in British and testing, they are pushed to learn how to use Kali Linux, how to use Metasploit, how to use Empire, how to use, Sharpsploit, and so many different tools. But the tools are just some tools that will come at some point and leave. What's important is that you understand the concepts. You are able to understand the next product that will come into the market, and you really can easily comprehend the knowledge that's needed to set this tool and to use it. Tools will help you achieve what you want to achieve faster, but you need to understand the strategy and the goal behind every single tool. So, with that out of the way, um, I see a question. Um, what does sorry, what does Windows admin skills include? So they include the basic understanding of Windows process, threads, surfaces, scheduled tasks, registry, changing settings in Windows like changing the IP, the net mask, the IP gateway, including as well how to use Windows inside a virtual machine and how that works. Um, all of this stuff. I don't think you need more than that. You don't need to dive so deep into it and how to work on Windows 2016, Windows Server, and install admin tools and stuff like that. You don't need to go that deep. Just the basic understanding of Windows. Think about it as being a super user, not like a normal user who just know how to open and close page or know how to open browser. Just a person who knows internally how Windows work just a little bit. That can be a really great start. Um, so, with that out of the way, let's get into the first skill. The first skill that I want to talk about today is simulating the real threats, which is known as red teaming. So, APT stands for Advanced Persistent Threats, and it's basically the target threats that companies are facing. And currently, most of the attacks that we see that actually cost companies millions are targeted attacks, are attacks that are meant only for this organization. They have their own malware, they have their own plan, they send the phishing emails and social engineering emails that targeted specifically for this employee or for this group of employees. They might include the name of their manager or different things that very personalized to them, from the spear phishing to the malware. And sometimes there are fileless attacks where there is no malware that's being stored on disk. They are able to evade detection and stay hidden in the organization for a long time. The average time we say is like around 8 months, and sometimes even more. And 56% of these attacks stay in the organization for months and more. So it's really, they stay for a long time, and they do that because they avoid detection. They evade detections, they bypass the security controls and the security teams. And these groups that perform these attacks are sometimes are nation states for political reasons or whatever. They are professional hackers for hire. They are financially targeted, like target ransomware attacks. And ransomware attacks are a very successful business currently, and that's why uh, these attacks are become way more common. They attack a company and they ask for they encrypt the files and they ask for ransom back, maybe 10 million or 12 million dollars, and that pays off for all the investment they did to hack this company. After that, they move to the next company and the next and the next. And we see these attacks happen again and again, from a ransomware attack with Boeing and Tesla, WannaCry, and still actually WannaCry is there, not Bitya and others. Um, Another question is, um, so I see lots of questions comes on the prerequisites, and I will cover them now. So do we need to understand Active Directory? Yes, but you don't have to dive in them now. You can dive in them through learning penetration testing. How much knowledge of protocols is required in InfoSec? At least to understand TCP, UDP, IP, um, and as well some of the protocols like HTTP, DNS. That's at least. FTP probably is also useful. And to understand these protocols, I mean to understand everything about these protocols, understand how exactly they work step by step, understand HTTPS and the SSL protocols and certificates. This part is also very important. You can have a bucket in bytes and you can actually dissect it and understand how it works through a tool like Wireshark, of course. But that's what you need to know. Is MCSA enough for Windows administration? It's more than enough. It's way more than enough. What I asking is at least half of it, um, to understand the basic things about Windows beyond just installing a game or deleting a game. It's to understand how everything works between registry and process and threads and so on. If that's out of the way, let's move forward. Uh, what about Azure? Cloud is not the most important now. It is important, but not when you are just started. When you are advanced a little bit in British and testing, you can move to Azure and Azure AD and all of this stuff. Are we gonna learn all of this stuff in the course? I will talk about the course at the end, but we will cover cloud. Actually, we will cover some of the important concepts when including the Active Directory and how it works and different things, how all the authentication of Active Directory works. We will not talk about protocols from zero. So you need to understand network protocols, at least these protocols that I covered. You need to understand what's registry and what's all of that. Luckily for you, we'll be also adding additional bonuses in this training, only in the pre-order, that will help you with the basics, including the basics of Windows and stuff like that. So stay tuned when we cover that topic. So I don't want to go too early for that. Um, so, how do ABT attacks start? Most of the cases they start through spear phishing. I can give you a chart with everything, but it's like 90% of them start with the spear phishing, some through supply chain, um, and some through an insider. Supply chain, something like SolarWinds, which is a very recent attack that hacked like over 100 organization in US and others. Insiders can be someone inside the organization who actually planted the malware, and there are some malware now that offers a huge payment for somebody who install a malware in his organization. So insider threat is something really big. Um, do they use vulnerabilities like the ones that use in Metasploit or Exploit-B? They do sometimes, not as the most common thing, but there are for a zero-day or recently published vulnerability like the Microsoft Exchange, which was this recent, like this year. Um, um, but most of the exploits part are done through worms or malware that scans the whole internet and trying to find any organization that has this weakness, which is something that is the companies wants to protect against, but it's not the most uh, expensive threat that they need to fight against. Um, so people, and I see that a lot. So many people are trying to focus on web attacks, and web attacks are great, but there are actually very rare target attacks that are using web attacks or any public facing services, and that's why web bug hunters are not paid that well. They either work very hard finding a vulnerability and they receive that it's a duplicate. Some companies don't even um, accept this vulnerability and say, well, that's this by design. And some others that they pay, but not as much as you think. Maybe a few $100, 200, 300, a t-shirt and USB and some swags, or can go into 1,000, 10,000 if you really find something that is very special. They are not paid very well for their hours. And the reason for that is that it is very rare to see a targeted attacks that cost companies millions of dollars coming from a web attack or coming from SMTP or FTP protocol or POP3 protocol, which is what you mostly learn in the other trainings when you start in nutrition testing. That's why it's not something that the most important. You mostly learn how to use Nmap or fingerprinting and practicing on vulnerable machines, but that's not what happens in real world. That's not the real attacks, and that's why I want to shift your thinking about rather than learning what the courses are teaching. What I need to learn from the attackers themselves, from the real attacks. I don't want to learn from a course tell me how hacking has happened. I can see the attackers themselves in the real world and learn from their techniques. And that's what I want you to get today because these are the attacks that companies are trying to protect against. These are the attackers. If I will be protecting an organization, I will be mostly simulating an attack like this one. Um, and that's what I want you to think. There is actually an organization called Mitter, which covered all the different techniques that you might have or you might see in all the different techniques an attacker might use. The tactics like initial access, execution, persistence, privilege escalation, defense evasion. These are the tactics, and as well all of their techniques that they might use, like they will escalate privilege through something called DLL search order hijacking, or they will use spear phishing with an attachment to get into an organization, or they will use a valid account to move laterally inside the organization, and so on. So these are the list of all different tactics and techniques that all the attackers, real attackers, have used, and as well inside of this. Inside of their website, you can see each attacker, each group of attackers, and what exactly the techniques they have been using in their attacks. So, if you want to simulate a specific one, a specific group of attackers that you know that they might target this organization, you just look at what are the things they are using, what are the techniques, and how they are using it, and then you write a simulation plan to simulate these attacks, and that's what's called basically red teaming. And red teaming is the next step. It's like penetration testing plus plus, or the next level of penetration testing. Penetration testing mostly if your target is serves, or uh, you can perform a general penetration testing to make sure that you have the company has the base for protection, have like a good base where they can start. They are not really like too vulnerable to attacks, and it's mostly used for compliance. So it's still there, and it's always been there, and it will continue to be there. But it focuses on the security controls and the security team, and it It doesn't, it ignores the security team. It focuses on the security controls like the firewall, the different tools, but it ignores the security team. The security team knows about the attack. They detect the attack, but they ignore it. So it doesn't really test if the security team is able to detect real attacks. It doesn't test that because they know the attack, they can see the attack, and they just ignore it. And it's used a lot in compliance, and that's why it will remain be there. But it's not the only way to protect an organization. It just gives a base of protection, but not the real protection against the targeted attacks. While red teaming is a little bit different, it looks through threat intelligence, seeing the attacks that actually happen and happen to similar organizations to the one that you are trying to perform red teaming on, and then from these attacks, see what are the techniques and the tactics the attacker has used, and then take these list of tactics and techniques and simulate them. And when you simulate them, you're not only testing the security controls, you're testing the controls, the detections, all the detections the security team has. You're testing their process, how fast they respond, how smart in their response. Do they really stop this attack thoroughly, or they only focus on one machine and they leave um, all the other machines you have already infected. So it's a test for all the layers in the inside the organizations, all the layers of protection they might have. And it really helps to protect against the major threats. And this is a question, the very important question. Which level, when you're applying for a job, in penetration testing or in red teaming, which level you want to be? Do you want to be the person who just run vulnerability scanning tool, or a person who run a tool like Nexus and just read their output and rebrutalize stuff? Or you want to be a penetration tester, which is the majority of people are penetration testers who has OSCP, who has the normal certificates, which is, as I said, nothing wrong with them. Or do you want to be the next level? Most of people are in the penetration testing level, the vast majority of people and in the penetration testing level. If there is a job that is open, 100 people will be penetration testers and only 3 people will be in the next level. Red teaming, who knows how to simulate an attack, simulate a real attack and test not only the security controls but also the team, the detection. He is able to evade tools and as well able to evade the security controls, their process, their tools, their investigation, everything, and he's able to really simulate a real attack. Or somebody who's able to perform a purple team exercise, and purple team exercises are basically a red teamer and the blue teamer. They are basically doing a like kind of a duel. This is the red teamer is performing an exercise, the or performing a test, the blue team are trying to detect it, and they both learn from their mistakes. The red team are trying to attack. If he has been detected, the blue teamer will tell him, "Well, this is how you have been detected. This is how I detected you," so the red teamer can learn. And if the blue teamer couldn't detect the attack, the red teamer will give him instructions on how to detect his own attacks. And that's why a red teamer needs also to learn about blue team and how the defenders think. And this is the next level. And the last level is the adversary emulation, where when you cooperate threat intelligence, you understand threat intelligence, you understand how the attackers actually happen and how the current attacks, what are the attacks that are targeting this organization. You're able to understand how these attackers and their malware, how their malware work, what are the features there, what are their TTBs or their tactics, their techniques they are using, and how I can simulate all of that in my own attack. And this level are very few people. For each job opening, there's very, very few people who are in this level. The majority are in the penetration testing level. The majority are here. There is very few who are in red teaming or purple exercise or adversary emulation. I would tell you that there is vast majority of organizations only are their maturity level is only here. But if they want to go further, it is better for them to hire somebody who is a red teamer as a penetration tester than hire just somebody who is like 100 million other people who was also took the same exact courses and did the exact same thing, and he has only this level of knowledge. If a company wants to go to the next level in their maturity, they would prefer to hire the red teamer. If they are both applying for the same job, they will get the red teamer, the purple team exercise, the advisory emulation. They will move into that. They will not get the penetration tester. And here's the thing: I didn't create this map. I took it from the internet. This is the exact maturity level an organization can have. This is what's known already. If you are in the British and testing part, you might need to move one level, one step up, because everybody is there. The market is very, very tough to get a job now in British and testing, and that's why I never recommended British and testing all my previous years talking about cybersecurity. But if you want to get something, it's the retaining. So this is for the first skill. I will look at the chat for any questions. Um, so can we consider penetration testing as a prerequisite to red teaming? Good question. They are a little bit in parallel when you learn both of them, because penetration testing is targeting completely different skills. When you look at the actual step by step, the action items they need to do, it's they are very different. You will have, like, if you're learning, let's say, security plus or pentest plus or ch, they are considered a prerequisite. But if you're taking like scp or e-learn security courses, they are a bit more advanced in the techniques that are known for penetration testing. Reteaming is a little bit different skills and a little bit different steps to do. It's useful to learn both, of course, if you want to advance in that career, but this is not a prerequisite to this, and this is not a prerequisite to this. Um, what clouds kill will cloud kill penetration testing jobs? It will not. Just penetration testing will be for cloud. Red teaming, for example, if you are learning red teaming, you will find that you will need to test Azure ED, for example. Azure ED is a Azure, or I think it's called Azure. It's a Microsoft cloud, and they have an active directory in Azure that's used for Office 365, which is also in the cloud and is used in so many services. And organizations do have that. And this is, you can also perform red teaming or penetration testing on them. So cloud is part of it. And when we will talk, or we'll talk about the upcoming training that I will cover, but in the upcoming training, I also include the cloud, because the cloud is there and this is the future. So you need to understand the cloud, adding to where you are learning, and this is being prepared for the future. So I will cover the remaining questions later on. Some of the questions need to be covered a bit later. So what kind of programming languages should we master as a security enthusiast? So this is the part where we'll talk about right now. The second skill you need to learn is to be able to develop your own tools. There are so many people in cybersecurity who are good in using tools, good in using Empire, Partial Empire, or Metasploit, or Cobalt Strike, or so many different things. But actually, professionals who are the ones who develop the tools, the ones who stand out, who are developing these tools, not the ones who are using them. The people who use them, there are dime and dozen, there are so many of them. But the professionals who actually develop this. And guess what? The APT attacks that you will try to simulate, they write their own malware. Most of them, they do write their own malware, their own remote administration tools to be able to bypass security defenses. So if you want to be like an APT group, you want to simulate them, you need to develop your own tools that doesn't have signatures already. You see, current antivirus products can detect Metasploit, Metapredator. They can detect Cobalt Strike. even through Cobalt Strike has the ability to obfuscate the network, for example, and with obfuscation and backing, you can bypass some antiviruses, but not all of them, and not all the protection. You still have the same artifacts they leave on the system, and that's something that people are people are seeing over and over. They like Cobalt Strike is the most used malware so far by the hackers. So if this is one, so this one is easy to be detected, way much easier than a personalized or or developed like in-house developed malware. So what languages should I learn? And that is the question. Um, and this is the question that you have been guys asking. Um, so before I just look at the questions, but you're asking to skip the steps of penetration testing and its knowledge to get into a higher level with a higher requirements without having the minimum to be able to be in that level. It's not like that. Think about it in this way. There are some skills that are more needed right now, which is the how to be able to simulate a real attack, develop your own malware, use use let's build a spear phishing campaign able to bypass two-factor authentication, pen testing the cloud, lateral movements. You will see when you're learning red teaming that there is so many things are the same when you're learning penetration testing. Some things are the same, and some things just look at it differently. So you are not learning how to use Metasploit. You might not spend any moment in red teaming learning how to use Metasploit, while other courses teach you how to use Metasploit, how to use Kali, how to use SQL map. In red teaming, you will not be doing that. You will be developing your own tools. You will be developing your own malware. So the skills will be much more in a. It's kind of the same topics. Sometimes some skills are the same, but it's in a more upgraded way. So I'm learning how to use Meterpreter. You're learning in penetration testing how to use Meterpreter to be able to move between machines and able to scale privileges and so on. In red teaming, you will learn how to develop your own malware that does exactly that. You learn how to bend the cloud. You're able to how the attackers think and how you can actually do exactly what the attackers do, how to bypass defenses, how to do this and how to do that. These skills are it's kind of an upgraded version of the skills. That's why I don't want you to get into petition testing, learn so many things, and then re-go so many things, to re-go all of the skills again in a different way when you go into red teaming. That's why I don't say that they are this like penetration testing is the base level to move to red teaming. If you move to red teaming, you'll find all of this knowledge there as well, but in an upgraded level and in a better way. So when you are in red teaming, you will not need what you have learned in penetration testing, or you will relearn it in a different way. I hope that does make sense. Um, So, another question: do I need to learn malware analysis to be a reteamer? Do I need to, or from the malware analyst, do I need to be a malware writer to be a malware analyst? You don't need to be if you are in blue team, you don't need to learn red team in depth. If you are in red teaming or you are in offensive, you don't need to learn malware analysis in depth. If you are in an advanced level and you're already working 3 4 years in penetration testing or in or red teaming or in the offensive side, it is a good thing to learn a little bit about malware analysis, about incident response, about digital forensics, because it will help you become a better attacker. But if you're just starting in your career and you are in red teaming, it's not a good idea to learn malware analysis. It will like you're just starting in penetration testing. You know a little bit about that direction, so focus on that. Don't try to learn malware analysis and blue team and incident response to be a good attacker. It is useful in later on when you are really advanced and offensive, but when you are just starting, focus on their offensive skills. If you want to be a penetration tester and you're just started or you're very early on, focus on this and just a little bit to understand how the blue team think, because you'll help them when you do purple team exercise. You need to understand their mentality a little bit, but just a little bit, not to be a malware analyst, and that's very important. Um, So I will continue. So what languages? So the second skill again, second skill is to develop your own tools. To learn how to develop your own tools, how to develop your own malware, or how to develop your own automation, or your own PowerShell scripts, your own Visual Basic scripts, your fileless attacks, all of that. How you can develop them? Well, there are multiple languages you can use. PowerShell, and it's mostly used for scripting. C Sharp is now it's easily integrated in PowerShell with PowerShell, and it's less detected than PowerShell now. It can develop a fully functional malware. So C Sharp is a very common language. C++ gives you the native access to Windows functionality. Also, it's good to for workarounds most of the detections. It helps you to do stuff to help you to bypass defenses, to bypass detections, and so on. JavaScript and Visual Basic Script, which is good for malicious documents and others. Python is very useful for automation. It's very useful for Mac because Mac has Python installed by default. Um, and it is also very helpful in developing the server side of your malware. So you see that you have so many languages that are useful. Python helps you in developing the CNC, JavaScript, and Visual Basic Script for the malicious documents. PowerShell and C Sharp are very useful, especially in the files attacks and all these downloaders and scripts and stuff. And C++ to develop your own malware that can bypass defenses. So you have so many languages you can learn, and all of them are useful in something. But the good news is you don't need to learn all of this. You will need to learn C++ for Windows internals and a little bit of C Sharp and .NET. PowerShell is so based on C Sharp, it's like almost an identical language. It's just another layer, as kind of just another layer above C Sharp. So if you understand a little bit about C Sharp, you can understand PowerShell very well. And as well, C++ will give you a really good understanding of the underground of the operating system. When it comes to the other languages like JavaScript and Visual Basic Script, you don't need to learn so much. You can, uh, with your knowledge already in C++, you can learn, you can able to develop some little stuff. You're able to use the Stack Overflow and all the online help to develop the script that you want to do, and most of it will not be very in depth. For Python or for CNC development, you can rely on known CNCs like Caldera, F-Secure C2, and others. Um, what about assembly? Well, assembly here is not very useful when it comes to reteaming. There is very little use of it, very little use of it, and that also we cover in our training. But you don't need to actually learn assembly. This is more useful if you want to be a malware analyst. And this is what I'm saying. You need to focus in reteaming. What are the skills that you really need in reteaming? If you go to learn malware analysis while you're doing reteaming, you will learn another language in depth like assembly that you don't really use. You will learn reverse engineering that you don't really need to learn when you are developing your own malware. You will go so much in depth and you still have lots of things to learn here in reteaming to actually get your first job. So it's important to focus on the core skills that you need first so you can get the first job, and then from there you can learn a little bit about everything if you want to. Can we learn C instead of C++? It's kind of the same language. C++ has additional features that helps in improving your development, like object-oriented programming and so on. And you'll see they are very close to each other. What is the CNC development? CNC is the command control. It's basically the malware has to it will steal lots of information. It will do lots of stuff. It has to give you all this information back. It has to receive commands from you. The way the website that will connect to reach you, it's called command control or CNC. This is the server side. This is the attacker home basically. So when the malware connects to the attacker need to be able to send back commands to see, to have like a dashboard of all the hacked computers and send the commands to each one of them. This dashboard is called CNC, or command control. What about reverse engineering or buffer overflows? They are not really important when you are starting. They are not even close to be important. You can learn that after 5 years, and the use of it will be very, very limited when it comes to reteaming and penetration testing. So this is for the second skill, and the third skill is know your enemy. Well, first, the SOC team or the IR team are not really your enemies. You are working with them to protect the organization. But when you are performing your penetration testing or red teaming attack, you need to understand a little bit how their mind works, how their process looks like, how their strategies looks like, what are their tools, and the most important, what are their limitations, what they miss. If you don't know, SOC team doesn't see all the alerts coming from all their different tools. If they have an endpoint detection response or sysmon, they don't look at all the events coming from these tools. So if you know that your malware is giving a little bit of alerts, but these alerts are not high severity by their tool, whether you're using Carbon Black or OpenEDR, and your alert is like 40% severe, or it's like very low according to Carbon Black or to OpenEDR, the SOC team will not see it at all. If you don't understand that, you will not really understand how to bypass them. You need to understand a little bit how they think. And I don't see here that you need to learn how SOC team work, how incident response work, how malware analysis work. You don't need to dive that deep. You just need to learn a little bit how they think, so you're able to find their limitation and work around their limitation, if that makes sense. So that's for the three skills. What do you guys think? Does it that make sense to you? If you want to actually be someone who is different from all the crowds, you need to have that edge. You need to look what are the skills that are needed right now and just have these skills. This is what you all need. Um, Penetration testing, the CH, Security Plus, Pentest Plus are really good intros to cybersecurity, a really good foundation. Beyond that, you will need to dive into routine. You can still learn how to use Metasploit. You can still learn how to use Kali Linux. You can still perform this stuff, and looking for exploits and so on, and test on vulnerable machines. But the next level for you, or the thing that will give you the edge, is to understand reteaming, understand how to simulate a ransomware attack, how to simulate a target attack, how to simulate an attack that moves across all the machines and reach the active directory and steal all the passwords of the organization, how you can bypass defenses, how you can avoid being detected by the SOC team or the IR team. If you are hired as just a penetration tester and you will do a compliance penetration testing, then you might not use this stuff so much. But if you are moving to the next level, if the company needs an additional more thorough penetration testing, which is red teaming, you will need to have these skills. Of course, that is very different from learning web bug hunting, which was will mostly also learn in other trainings, or web penetration testing. And there's nothing wrong to be just focused on that. But just one thing, web penetration testing is very common. Web bug hunting is very, very common, and it's really used in an advanced attacks that cost companies millions. In hiring, companies look at the charts. What are the biggest losses? Where are the biggest losses are coming from? Companies, when I talk to people working in security teams or CISOs or others, they are not talking about web attacks. They are talking about target ransomware attacks. How we protect against target ransomware attacks, against fileless attacks. They know that web attacks are not the biggest threat they are facing. You can go into that field if that's exactly your passion and you can excel in that, but you will always have a massive competition and not very high salaries when it comes to work in that field, because there's always freelancers who are doing testing for the company. They are finding some vulnerabilities. Sometimes they find duplicates and they get nothing. and as well there is not much of threats that companies are seeing from them, if that makes sense. Um, we're really learning a lot. This is an eye opener. Thank you very much. Um, So, what do you think? What do you suggest to those who have all the basics and fundamental knowledge on operating system, networking, reverse engineering, to get over red teaming? Where, and how to connect them into red teaming? If you're talking about people who are in blue team, who are into reverse engineering and into protection, you don't need to move them into red team. They can continue in blue team and just be happy there. The only thing they might connect to back to the teaming is where are they have been 3 4 years in blue team and they want to learn how the attackers think so they are able to better protect their organization, or they want to do verbal team exercises or something like that, and that's an advanced level. If they are people who took all the basics but they are excited to learn offensive security, then we will give them we'll give you guys, all of you guys will give you all the resources you can use to learn these skills. If you stay until the a little bit of the webinar, will cover all the resources that you can use to learn these skills. So I'm into um, governance, governance, basically ISO and network auditing and so on. What are the skills that I need to get into written? So you need to have the with governance. It's a little bit far from technical side. You need to go a little bit technical. How much do you have technical side to to do like a little bit of Windows administration, Wireshark, analyzing packets? It's something you want to do? That's the first question. And if it's yes, then you need to make sure that you have the basic administration, network analysis, uh, hands-on. You need to open Wireshark and see the protocols and able to capture all of that. If you have this knowledge, then we will give you all the next steps for you right now. Is red teaming equal malware development? Malware development is a part of red teaming. There is much more comes into red teaming from moving between from lateral movements, privilege escalation, and lots of these things are done by the attacker manually, and some of them are embedded inside the malware itself. Also building the infrastructure for red teaming, doing spear phishing and having a spear phishing campaign, and stealing credentials by passing two-factor authentication. All of these parts are part of red teaming, but malware development is a big part as well in red teaming. So after you learn all of these skills, it's very important to know that companies will not suddenly discover you and start offering you all positions and applying for different jobs. You need to show that you do have these skills. It's really good to have the skills, but you need to know what are your biggest advantage. If you're someone who just starting, you don't have certificates or don't have years of experience, you need to show something else in your resume that says, oh, this is the person we really want. You need to show your work. So if you don't have the years of experience they require, you need to show that you have the practical skills, that you have actually done some work that shows that you have the experience, but in not in a company, not in a specific job, but in freelancing and doing your own stuff, in developing tools or bypassing or doing some anything that is practical and can show your skill. If you do have all the top certificates, you have CISP, you have all the important certificates, then you can start with that in your resume and highlight that in your resume. If you have been 5 years or 6 years of experience in a known company doing something that is very relevant to the job you're applying for, then the experience should be the first thing you highlight in your resume or in your profile. So you need to know what gives you the advantage. Is it the skills you have learned and how you practice them, blogs you have written or tools you have developed, or is it certificates? That's the top thing you have. You have CISP, you have something really high, or So, or the years of experience and the companies of work that and the projects of work that inside these companies. This is maybe the thing that will put you on an edge. So you need to know what's your advantage and highlight that when you write your resume. And you need to show your skills. If you don't have the years of experience or certificates, you need to find something um, that shows that you do have the skills that these companies want. Focus on the things that are trending right now, like, well, let's say the most known ransomwares. You can cover them. You can have your own. Um, I think we'll cover that a little bit. So focus on the things that managers are searching for, like, let's say, files attacks or ransomware attacks or specific ransomware attack. If you are good in programming, then develop tools to work on that. Let's say a tool to simulate a specific malware, a tool to detect if you are in blue team, a tool or even your own developed remote administration tool. Make sure that you call it a red teaming tool because it's really make a difference. Um, and if you are good in penetration testing more and red teaming, and not so much in development, you can build your own blog, talk about simulating attacks, talk about different techniques you have learned, and so on. And if you are looking for a new job, focus on building your portfolio everywhere in Twitter, on LinkedIn, on GitHub. And really, the most important is LinkedIn because this is where all the jobs are. You need to have a professional profile, you need to have professional picture, professional content in your profile, posting about all your work. Even your way of writing your own blogs has to look professional so recruiters and hiring managers can reach out to you. And that's what happened with me because I have developed the tool before, so I used my programming skills. I developed Puka Simulator, which simulates an operating system, and as well I wrote an analysis for Stuxnet malware, which is a trendy topic up here. It's a trending topic that all the hiring managers were looking at. And then I got multiple different positions and multiple different companies that asked me to work with them. One was from Brivix in Webroot. I remember that. And also another Italian company. So that's one thing. And if you want to focus on your blog, then first, lots of people ask me, okay, what I need to write on my blog. You don't need to invent something new. This is the first thing. It's better to add some things, but you don't need to invent something new and you don't need to copy paste. Neither this nor this. It's something in the middle. You need to really learn, even from different other blogs, comprehend the information, understand the information very well, and then write all of that. You write your own understanding of these techniques in your own blog. If there is a technique that uses specific scripts and code, you need to rewrite it by yourself and show that you have actually practiced the skill. You have actually developed the script that does this attack, and you have tested it. And here's all the results. You need to show that it's something you have went through your knowledge or going through your experience. You are writing your experience about this technique that you have read about it few months before. um, a good example is our blog. We have, if you go to medium.com/maltrack, you will see different articles I have wrote, and they are not new techniques. There might be some things that I have added quite new, but the majority, the main techniques are not new. But it is my experience of these techniques, how I test them, how I saw what works and what's not, and how they can use them chained together to perform a bigger attack. So it's my own experience of techniques that have been used by attackers, have been used by red teamers before. It's not something that's completely new. So that's what you need to do if you want to write your own blog. Write different things, write every week or every second week, and post that in your LinkedIn profile. Show that every time. Add your projects on LinkedIn, on GitHub. If you're having some small scripts and stuff like that, make them public. Write description that shows that you have wrote a blog and a link to this blog. Try to market yourself more, and that will bring people to you. I started with a story today, and I will end this part with it. Is that there was somebody who was reaching out to me, a few days ago, or I was seeing him on LinkedIn so often. And this guy, he was posting different analysis, different things he has done in his blog, different analysis for different malware. And I was like, this guy is really smart. This guy is really good. I might think if I need to hire, I have to think about this guy. And I asked him if he can send me his resume. I might help him if I know a position, or I might try to hire him. He's really smart. So think about how this hiring manager sees you. If they see your LinkedIn profile or sees your resume, how much do you know about your real skills, your practical skills? Um, so best way to learn the first skill, simulating and emulating attacks and everything. So we will cover exactly how to do that. Um, Yesterday, today, someone from IBM X Force Red Team contacted me just because I was active in the IBM community. Here you go. You are active, you're showing your skills, they are reaching out to you. Brito is saying, can't wait for the course. We will cover it very, very soon. Just stay with me for maybe 5 minutes more. So, also, for job hunting, you need to create a professional profile on LinkedIn, show your work everywhere possible, connect with recruiters, focus on giving. And this is something very important. Don't just write to show recruiters or show managers you are good. Focus on actually giving to the community. Think about somebody else learning these skills and you are helping him. Giving is really a good thing. And what I'm doing now, or what I'm doing in my videos, I'm trying to give. And when I give, I actually learn more and I actually receive more. If you have the intention of helping, you actually show the best out of your blogs, out of your work, and as well, the managers can see your work through this way. So focus on the idea of giving to people, to help people, and that will help you actually getting higher. Connect a lot with recruiters and engineers. Try and even managers connect like connect with 90 people per day at least. Try that every single day. You will build a huge massive following, and from there you can build more. And if there is a job opportunity, try to reach out to the hiring manager directly and try to ask them for this position. You don't expect a response from everyone. There is one guy today who's like very angry that I didn't reply about his position that he wants to me to recommend him. You don't expect a reply every single time. I was traveling. I cannot reply to him. Another manager, he has so many messages also. He cannot reply to everyone. So do not really cry on everybody who doesn't respond to you, and be okay with the rejection. You might get rejected once, twice, 5 times, 10 times. I have been rejected a lot, even after I wrote the Stuxnet report and worked in Komodo for quite some time. I still got rejected a lot because of, I don't know, maybe they have different needs. But then the success come. So do not really focus and don't dwell on any rejection. Just keep pushing and keep moving and learn from your mistakes. So um, and also highlights what gives you the advantage in your resume. As we said, tailor your resume for the job opportunities and write the skills in each project you actually have. So the most important question: how to learn the skills we have covered today? Um, the first thing, Security Blast or CH Material are really good start. Bin Test Blast as well also is a good start. You need to understand a little bit what's domain controllers and domain admins and firewalls and this stuff. Not so much in depth how to install them like the questions we had. Not so much how to install and configure Windows Server, but at least understand what is domain controller, what's domain accounts, what's firewalls, what's IDS, IPS, what's authentication versus authorization, understanding network protocols. And there's a really good source for network protocols is a good YouTube small course that covers most of these protocols and how they exactly look like. I recommend you to check it out. I will send you guys, I think today or tomorrow, these slides. You don't need to take screenshots or anything. I will send you all guys these slides. So basically, that's a really good resource. You'll find it in the slides, and you can practice from malware traffic analysis. It's really good to practice all what you have learned in Wireshark and so on. And for learning red teaming, the first thing is to read about attacks. There is a really good source that is in GitHub called ABT Notes, and it has all the different attacks, articles written by Kaspersky, FireEye, CrowdStrike, and other companies about different attacks that happened in the world. Sometimes the same attack covered by multiple companies. And reading them, you can give an idea, you can get an idea of how this attack happens step by step, from the phishing email to the malware, what exactly the malware does, what commands it has, how it connects to the attacker, how it bypasses and evade detection, how it moves from one machine to another, and so on. This is the first thing. Second thing is really useful is to dive deep into the meta attack techniques. In this link, you can see all the map of attacks that we saw in the picture long time ago, around like 160 or 170 different techniques. You will see every single technique, what exactly this technique is, um, how the attacker used it, who the attackers used it, so you can see how they use it exactly, and as well lots of references on learning these techniques. So from there you can learn so many different techniques and routine. How you can access how can we access all these slides? I will send it through email, so make sure that you are subscribed to my email list. I will send it to everyone who signed up for the course, signed up for the email list, or signed up for this webinar. It was basically maltrack.com/masterclass. If you have signed up here, you will receive the slides. So if you haven't, just go to maltrack.com https double dot slash slash maltrack.com/masterclass. Sign up so you can receive the email with the slides, probably today evening or tomorrow. Anyway, learn from Caldera techniques. Caldera is basically a tool created by MetroAttack to simulate APT attacks. It's a very basic. It's not like a full red teaming tool, but it has so many commands that you can use to simulate different attacks. So it's really a good source to learn from. Also, Atomic Red Team, sorry, also has lots of commands that you can directly use to simulate different techniques up here. And the idea is not to remember the commands or save them into a text file, but the idea is to learn how these techniques work step by step, learn how exactly they're being executed so you can understand the idea. Is this session recorded? So far, yes, it's recorded on YouTube, so you can always access it. And most importantly, you need to read the tools, understand how they do what they do. You have Sharpsploit or Powersploit, you have Empire, um, you have so many tools that are actually open source. You know that Metasploit is actually open source. Meterpreter, I believe it's open source as well. All of these tools are open source. You can read them, understand how they do what they do, and from that learn how to also code something like that. You will need to learn coding and programming separately, and there's tons of C++ sources, but you will need to read their code to really understand how these programs work and how these techniques actually being performed in real. There is the Powersploit and Sharpsploit. You have Caldera agents as well, which is the malware that's used by Caldera. Caldera is basically a command control. Is CNC is a website, and they have different malware that you can infect a machine with and connects back to Caldera. And these malware are also open source that you can read their code. APT Simulator is also a tool, open source tool that simulates attacks. Atomic Red Team is also a different tool. So all of this you can use to read their code and understand how techniques work. Thanks, really, it is lovely to learn these tricks. Very good. Um, and you can simulate what you have learned in Splunk attack range. It's basically Splunk has created kind of a lab on AWS or whatever, or Azure or wherever the cloud you're using, and that has all of these different machines like a fake company, and it simulates these attacks using Caldera, and you can see how these attacks look like in real life. You can even try to test your attacks by yourself and see how they are detected or they are not detected, and learn a lot by practicing on this Splunk attack range. If you want to dive deeper into different topics like privilege escalation, there is kind of a complete um, cheat sheet for all the different techniques used in privilege escalation up here. It's a really great reference if you want to learn how to bypass a user access control, which is when you try to install an application, it gives you a window that you need to allow this application to run. Like you want to run it as an administrator, and then you say, oh, yes, and then the application gets installed. And this is something the attackers cannot do. They cannot click on yes, and they don't want this window to show up. So they try to bypass using different Windows workarounds, different Windows weaknesses to bypass this window and actually make their malware runs as an administrator. And it's like rooting in Linux, like become a root. And user access control, there's a user UAC me is basically a good repository of all the techniques that can be used to bypass user access control. You can also dive deeper into Active Directory and all their attacks through all the references are here. They have all the references you might find. Payloads, all the things that has so many references is like a really um, complete roadmap with all the links and sources and so on. So that's it. For defense evasion, there are multiple resources, and there is nothing that is concrete that tells you that there's nothing that collects all the information. You see, in red teaming, it's not like mentorship testing. There's not so many courses. There's nothing that covers red teaming really well, and if it does, it's like $3,000 to purchase. Like I think Spectre Ops, they have red team operation training. It's a live training. It's not recorded, and you spend like around $3,500. There is nothing that is. There's no one place where all the resources are. For defense evasion, there's lots of different things. You can check our own blog. We cover lots of things in defense evasion. As well, you can read all of these resources step by step, and you can see so many different things. Read and understand, and don't just use the tools. This is the more important. So, how to learn programming? For PowerShell, there is actually SpectreOps has they decided to make their PowerShell training for free because they they believe that PowerShell for pen testing is kind of like deprecated now, and in the future, most people will not use PowerShell. Mostly, they will use C Sharp or something else. Um, so they have their training is for free. You can check it out. They have the slides only, but it's really useful. Red Team PowerShell's cheat sheet, which is also a good resource to see this what you have learned with PowerShell into red teaming. And as I said, C++ has so many resources anyway. And for more in-depth Windows internals, you can check Windows internals book. It's a kind of a reference, but it's a good reference if you need any help. The link here goes to Amazon. You can check it out. You can purchase it if you want to. Um, and as I told you, something very important is that research is your key. You need to be able to research. You need to be able to dive deeper into Google, Stack Overflow, try different things, dive into the system internals, read the source code of different applications, read the documentation of the APIs being used everywhere, Windows APIs or Windows commands, Windows functionality, and as I said, start by reading different tools, source code, and that will help you a lot. Um, so that's for all the resources you can learn from. As I said, they are not covering from zero to hero, but these resources are really specified for reteaming. I hope they are helpful. Um, you can go through all of these resources or try to go up and down, and that might take you a longer time because these resources are not friendly to understand, to put all of this information together, to practice and try. There's another option which I can help you with that. I can basically help you and mentor you and as well guide you and take you by hand to learn all these skills step by step. And I'll be providing a training called In-Depth Red Teaming. ABT and adversary simulation. And this is a very coded training, which is gives me enough time to, or a longer time to be able to cover all the topics I want to cover. And as well, you have my mentorship through a live Q sessions, Zoom calls that happens every second week, and I do answer all the questions, all the things you're stopped at. And the thing that I see a lot when I was learning, because I learned everything through self-learning, when I get stuck, I don't find an answer. And Google is not the best friend, and YouTube or Udemy, they are not the best friends when I'm stuck in one specific thing. And I go into the procrastination point when I procrastinate and then leave things for the future and never. And then after few weeks or months, when I come back and try to do something else, I don't want to have you. I don't want you to follow the same path. I want you to always have somebody who knows the skills that you want to learn and can guide you through, which I will be the person who will try as much as I can to help you through. As well, I want to build a community of professionals and students that actually can help each other learn, and as well these professionals can guide people. We have these Zoom calls is also with the guys from the malware analysis and incident response. There you have guys like directors in Trend Micro, or a manager in TNT, ET&T, I think. You have people who are really top, really professionals. You have students as well. You have people who went through the live training with me. They are there as well. You can ask questions. You can get help. You can always get help from the community of experts and students like you. So this training is full of hands-on. It's basically so much of hands-on, and it's about simulating EBT attacks and develop your own cyber weapon. It will help you learn red teaming and the techniques that are used by top attackers from my own experience seeing them in semantic, with how I developed my knowledge through the time as well, and with the and through the blue team and incident response and malware analysis, and as well with everything I learned through red teaming. You will be able to develop your own malware, and I have been a developer since the beginning. I will give you all the knowledge I had through learning how to develop your own malware and bypass different detection and defenses, bypass different tools like EDRs and IDS, IPS, and so on. And the most important, will help you build your own red teaming infrastructure in the cloud with AWS and Terraform. And this will be a really good intro for you to learn about the cloud. You see, the cloud is the future. And we had a question today, is the cloud will remove all the penetration testing? It will not, but the penetration testing will move to the cloud. And you need to start somewhere. And we'll give you a good intro into AWS, into Terraform, into the cloud in general. And as well, we'll give you all the infrastructure code to you so you can just basically click on one button, and then you have all your CNC, all your phishing platform, all your phishing pages, and your two-factor authentication bypass techniques. Everything is there. Even your domains will be set up automatically with just one project. And I'll give you that project that I use for myself and for my students as well. I will give that to you, and I will teach you everything so you can actually modify it. You can learn cloud through it, and so on. As well, I will show you, I will give you as well a vulnerable Active Directory lab built on AWS and PowerShell, and I will walk you through all the steps and how this is being developed so you can improve it. You can install different tools, you can upgrade it if you want to, and you can build your own customized lab that you will test the malware at, and you will test your attacks and the detections as well. And that will be also additional thing to learn when it comes to the cloud. Um, what are the course prerequisites? I don't know if I covered this part here. So the course prerequisites is that you understand um, you understand the network protocols, you understand the basics of cybersecurity, and I will cover this in a moment. So just bear with me a little bit. So, what this training is for? First is cybersecurity professionals, penetration testers, purple teams, people who are in blue team for years, and they want to learn how to perform purple team exercises. This is also for you, people who are working in threat hunting, not people who are just starting in blue team. I'm not If you are just starting a blue team, this training is not for you. Focus on blue team first. Focus on learning malware analysis or incident response. We do have a training for that. But if you are already working 4 or 5 years in blue team and you want to learn the red team so you know how the attacker thinks, and as well you can perform purple team exercises, this will really help you. This is the instant handlers and the advanced SOC analyst. For SOC analysts, I mean tier 3 or people who are in incident response or threat hunting, just to be sure about that. Um, are there any discounts or there's a way to get to pay after the job? Well, there will be discounts, but there's no way you can pay after getting the job. That doesn't happen. You don't get the salary after you work for years. Like it doesn't work like that. So anyway, why do you need this training? So this training is really different from anything I've learned in penetration testing. It's completely different from other penetration testing courses. It really focuses on building the skills that companies need right now that we covered in this presentation. It focus on the real attacks right now, the ransomware attacks, the target attacks, the red teaming, and as well developing your own tools, which is something I don't see in 99% of trainings, even with teaming trainings like the one without mentioning any company, but there are ones with $3,000 and they don't teach you how to develop your own tool. They teach you how to use a tool that's already there, like Cobalt Strike, and you have to pay for that tool also at way more additional money. So that's not what we're doing here. We are helping you build your own tools, bypass the defenses through your own malware, and as well learn all the reteaming step by step. And the most important, this will give you an edge compared to all the other pen testers. It will give you something the others don't have, and the majority of people don't have. If you look, if there's 100 people applying for the same job, you will be surprised that 90 of them they have CH and OSCP and that's it. And you know how to use Metasploit and Kali Linux and know how to use the tools without much more. But you will be the one who's different, who's able to develop tools like Meterpreter. You're able to uh, to 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 simulate real attacks. You're able to move one step further. You're the one who will be from the top 5% or 10% maximum. You are from these top people, and you have way more chances to get a penetration testing job, and as well you have the opportunity to get a red teaming job. So you can apply to both penetration testing and as well red teaming. Prerequisites. That's the question. Good IT administration background and Windows mainly. Linux is also preferred. Good cybersecurity background, Security Plus, um, CH, or Kickstart Your Cybersecurity Career, which is a training we do also provide, and C++ programming fundamentals if you don't have it. And let's get through the agenda step by step, just a little bit. The first module will cover the ABT attacks, red teaming infrastructure on AWS. So you will learn the cloud, you will learn about ABT attacks, you will learn about the target attacks, and as well you will get a good intro into the cloud. And at the end of it, I will give you all the project, all the code that you will need to build your infrastructure in the cloud. You build your CNC and all the tools. So at the end, you will just have everything ready for you. In Module 2, we will go into the phishing and social engineering mastery. We'll talk about how to bypass two-factor authentication, how to have a fake page, how to have like a phishing email that really tricks the people into clicking, into typing their username and password, to even put their code if they have a two-factor authentication, and how you can steal their credentials. And this is used a lot by the attackers, and you need to learn that too. In Module 3, we will get into developing your own malicious documents, for example, that executes malicious code or downloading another malware, how to obfuscate these tools, obfuscate the malicious code inside these documents, how to perform spear phishing with a link through social media, through different advanced techniques like COM objects, or even using a link files. And we'll cover all of that and we'll have lots of hands-on as well, and that's for the initial access. And then we'll go into developing your own malware, and this is really a good exercise to really dive deep into malware development, into development in general, C++ development, and as well write your own malware. First, we'll help you develop your own malware that connects to your command control server in the cloud. We will help you build a vulnerable organization. In AWS, we'll give you all the code as well, so you can modify it yourself. We will help you also build additional modules to the malware, so make your malware upgradable and easy to upgrade its own self with new tools and new commands, something like a keylogger to be added later on to the malware, and all the victims receive the keylogger functionality later on. Will help you do that and build a keylogger, and then how you can maintain persistence, how this malware can stay even after starting the machine, how you can split privilege, how you can bypass, how you can go from being a limited user or being a normal user to be an administrator and to be the kernel and take over the machine. We'll talk about defense evasion in depth, and this was really, really impressive part. We provided that part in live before, and it has been really, really impressive. We will be covering the defense evasion in depth. We will be covering how to obfuscate your malware to bypass signatures, how to bypass IDS, IPS, even the network detection response, or even the machine learning based tools, how you can bypass them. Machine learning and the artificial intelligence is now all the products or all the upcoming new products trying to put artificial intelligence. And guess what? We will cover how you can bypass them with so many different techniques. We'll talk about how you can bypass behavioral based detection or endpoint detection response and so on. And late and last, we'll cover how to move from one organization to another, one machine to another, take over the whole organization or the domain controller, and actually have the passwords of all the users inside this organization. So you will get um, you will get all of that, all this pre-recorded training. You will also get all the resources and tools. And by the way, this training I have given it live last in mid-July, and this is what people said about this training. And by the way, this live training was like two-thirds of this, or maybe half of what is in this pre-recorded training. It was with $1,600, and this is what the students said about this training. John Jones said it was outstanding training, worth its weight in gold. The content is up to date, very, very impressive, very well delivered, and Amr put his heart and soul into it and was very helpful. Great human being, much appreciated. This is what John Jones said. Omar Amin said that one of the best outstanding training I have ever taken. You have did a great effort with us, especially in malware development section and EDR, AVR evasion. Most of training courses out there, I don't see malware development from scratch. I never saw that, and this is the first training that offers this. So you made this training a special one. And by the way, the pre-recorded one will even be more special because have way more than what was in the live training. Adebayo was saying this is one of the best trainings I ever attended. I couldn't be happier with my decision taking this training. Great job with this training once again. Easily one of the best decisions I have made this year. Um, Lionel was saying, thank you so much for this training. It was very different from what I have taken before. So amazing, and you're a great teacher as well. Thank you also for the community. Wasim was saying this was a very good training and proud to be one of your students. Hani Shalabi was saying this highly helpful and highlighting many of the techniques that can be used to bypass organization security defenses. You put a huge effort and with all the attendance to ensure that all modules are clearly understood. Thank you again for your effort. And we can go on and on and on. Pravesh was saying that was the great learning session. I would recommend this training to anyone. So it has been one of the really most impressive trainings you'll ever see, and all the comments were that positive. You will get that training. You will get even more than what was in this live training because you will get something that's even bigger. The original price of this pre-recorded training will be $1,280. I will not charge you today with $1,200. I'll charge you way less because it's a pre-order training. The training will be available on 29th of October. But I will not only give you this training. So this training is $1,280, but I will not give you this for the list price. I'll give you a discount, but I will give you even more. I'll give you the Kickstart Your Cybersecurity Career course, which is a really good intro to cybersecurity. So if you don't have the prerequisites, this is a really good intro for you. If you don't have a deeper knowledge in cybersecurity, Kickstart Your Cybersecurity Career will give you the intro, and as well, it's really a good hands-on training that gives you a little bit about the red teaming. It shows you the offensive side, then it shows you the defensive side and the incident response, how it looks like. Then it shows you the malware analysis, and it ends up with and this is how it is. It shows you the attack side, it shows you the response, it shows you the malware analysis and deeper investigation, and then it shows you the files attacks, and as a bonus module, how files attacks work. So it's really, really impressive training. This training, actually, the price of it is 197 if you purchase now, or from my website, but I will give it to you completely for free with that training. And this training was, we did it once live, and it was super impressive. People were really loving. I would like to infinitely thank Amrit Abid for the great and deep and outstanding training, Kickstart Your Cybersecurity Career, covering a huge amount of knowledge. I really recommend it for anyone who wants to dive and excel in cybersecurity. Basically, I've gone through many courses and boot camps in order to learn real life cybersecurity operations. But significant amount of courses, and that's what I'm saying, significant amount of courses showed all techniques or some just better tools. But however, the session delivered by Ahmed Thabit covers the gap and explains the reality of the industrial methodology. I personally work in the industry, and as somebody who is professional working in cybersecurity, I personally work in cyber and industry and got really juicy and interesting knowledge. I highly recommend people to attend it. The main thing was he didn't start directly with the tools, but social engineering and the cyber kill chain methodology. It was superb and unique. You will get that. And with Kickstart Your Cybersecurity Career, I have like tons of testimonials. Just ask me, I can send it all to you. You will get all of that course completely for free as an additional bonus for pre-ordering. This is, I don't believe it will be with the full training when it's published with $1,280. It will be, it is only with the pre-order. So make sure that you are pre-ordering now. You will get that right away when you pre-order. As well, for the first 30 students, you will get the programmer mindset program problem solving in C++. And that's a training I have recorded a while back. And it puts you in the programmer shoes. It helps you from completely zero. If you haven't read a single line of code, this is will help you learn programming. Because lots of people are saying, oh, I really want to learn malware development, but I don't know how to develop any program. With this programmer mindset, you will get the foundation for programming. You will think like a programmer, and it's all about different exercises, not like data structure courses that you learn in university. It's like step by step, and with lots of exercises. Okay, what's this? Let's complicate this exercise a little bit. How to do this? How to do that? And through this exercise, you learn programming very well, and you think like a programmer. The original price, if you bought that training right now, it will be 397. But I will give you this training completely free for the first 30 students who pre-order this training. Only for the first 30 people. Um, and as well, for the first five people, only the first five people will get a 90 minutes intensive one-on-one Zoom call with me, where I will help them with something in. We will be sharing the screen, we'll be working on something they are facing, whatever in their malware, whatever in any part of this malware training. Not only I will just reteach some parts, I will work with you in your own malware. I will develop different parts, fixing errors, seeing where things goes. I will be with you 90 minutes, whatever the topic is that you want to really dive deeper, you want me to work with you in it. I will be working with you in that. If you even work in a company and you face the specific challenge in your company and you want my help, one-on-one help to help you with that, I will consult you and I will help you with this. This is if I'm selling it as a consulting service, will be with 297. But I will give it to you for free for the first five students. You'll get this. Um, you will get this VIP intensive Zoom call. This is only for the five students. And by the way, just to mention before I pass this part, there is already somebody who pre-ordered this training. He wanted to pre-order it so much, and he didn't want to wait for the pre-order for the webinar, and as well he wanted to catch all of this offer. So now we have only four students left out of the five, and 39 for the programming mindset. So if you want to be from the first four, you really need to, catch, because most probably by the end of today, there will be all the four slots gone. From my experience, most of people, like at least four people or five people, purchase on the first day. So make sure that you are one of them, because they really go very fast. So um, you will also get my Zoom call mentorship, and there's so many people who I worked with them closely. One of them is Mohit Nehru, and he was sharing, was talking about mentorship and about how I helped him through mentorship. And he was saying, I guess I'll surely share some wisdom among the others. I'll say, if you are planning or join the course, he was talking about malware analysis. Make sure you stick until the end and don't mix up with different things. Um, Okay, he's saying here, having met Amr here in Dublin, I believe a mentor who exhibits his passion for what he does is a truly an artist in real life. I only felt the same for two people, one in my university in masters and another one for Amr. If you're reading my comments, please humbly consider my advice. You will find purpose beyond, but only when you stick to it. That's for Mohit Nehru. For Amin, he also took our Malware course, and he was talking about his experience studying with me and me as a mentor. He was saying, I wouldn't find anyone who shared his experience with you as Amr did. I see that's super important. Without someone who gives you and who guides you and gives you the full picture, it may take you a few years to learn these skills that you have learned from the program only in a few months. Don't waste your time and build on top of others' expertise. And this is very important. People search always for the how they can do something. But the better way to search is who knows the how, and go to that person and make him or ask him to guide you through the how, because there's so many scattered information. You can easily procrastinate trying to find how we can learn penetration testing, how we can learn routine, how we can learn malware analysis. It is very difficult, and I have been through that. I have spent years, and without so strong persistence, you will not get there. But the easier way is to find somebody who knows the how, who actually achieve the goals you want to achieve. You work in a company, in one of the top companies, earning six-figure salary, and you want to get to that. Ask him or get to him and make him mentor you through the process. He will get you through all the how. He will tell you what exactly you should learn, how you should learn it, how you should practice, and help you tackle all the obstacles you face. So what you'll be getting our pre-recorded training, Kickstart Your Cybersecurity Career for free. You'll get the programmer mindset, problem solving in C++ also for free for the first 30 students. You will get the Zoom 90 minutes intensive one-on-one Zoom call. That will be for the first five students. Now they are only four because already somebody bought. And you will also get the bi-monthly or every 2 weeks Zoom calls for support and mentorship that will be for 1 year, and the value of it is around 400, but that's not the price you'll be paying. As well, you will get the certificate of completion, and this will be from a creditable website, so it will be something that's always there. It's like there is a way to verify through blockchain that you really took the certificate from me, and it will be something that will add a lot in your resume as well if you want to add it. And here's the thing, talking about resumes, when you add that you have taken this certificate from Maltrack, you add under this course all the things you have learned from the cloud, from malware development, from different things you have learned, and the things you have already wrote. You have developed your own RAD through this process that connects to Caldera. You have developed different scripts. You are able to bypass different defenses. You are able to build your own lab or your own infrastructure in AWS and so on. So you will put the things you have learned and things you have done through the training under the name of this training and under this certificate to show to the recruiters and the hiring managers that you have these skills, you own these skills, and you have also practiced these skills. Um, so So for the question, is there is any other certificate after this training? Yes, there will be a certificate for achievement. This is for the malware answer response, but there will be another one for the red teaming, similar to this one for the red teaming, and it will be on Creditable, which is a very known website for certificates. It connects them through blockchain and different stuff. So you will get the full training, which is the original price is $1,280. That's the original price after the pre-order. Just to let you know, you will get the Kickstart Your Cybersecurity Career, which is if you purchase now it's 197. You will get the Programmer Mindset Problem Solving in C++. That's a complete C++ training, and it's not like any other course. It basically puts you in the shoes of the programmer. It helps you solve different problems and think like a programmer. It's really an impressive training and really a different spin that will help you build your skills in C++. The original price is $397 and it will be only for the first 30 students. You'll get a Zoom call 90 minutes with me with the price of 297. That's only for the first five students, four students now because somebody bought, and as well the Zoom call with me. The value of all of that, if you sum all the prices of all these courses and all these things, it will be 2,568, which is not the price you are paying today. You are not paying that. You're only pre-ordering today with 997 on maltrack.com/pre-order. And this is basically less than the price of just this training, which is 1,280. Adding to this, so many different bonuses that will really help you. Plus, you will get my own malware. You will get my own infrastructure in AWS with its code. It's not like you build it manually. There is a code to create all this infrastructure, to even change your domains to point to the CNC. It's everything you need to just one click, and you have the whole infrastructure for you. You will get also the vulnerable system in the cloud. You can use it, and I make sure that you don't have to pay Amazon or AWS for all the services you're using. It will be the free tier part, and all of that was just 997. And you can go to mountright.com/pre-order. I recommend you to pre-order today if you're really interested, because for the first four students, most it will be gone by today. So make sure that you pre-order now if you are really interested, or today at any time. And if you are really wanting to order, don't wait, because once you wait, the more bonuses will be sold out. And there will be an email, I think 1 day or 2 days from now, I will be sending this with this one closed, or the pre-order page will have this one closed. So you don't need to have that. Take advantage of everything and join today. And at the end, people say, "Well, I will learn by myself," or people, I will learn from Udemy. There's a Udemy guy who with $10 I can get his course." Think about what's exactly you want to achieve. Do you want to be a person like the mentor you are taking, the mentor you're taking to lead you through the process? I do have mentors, by the way. I do pay. I paid 6,000 people, that's $6,000 to a mentor to help me build a business. I paid 3,000, or I'm planning to. It's actually I just talked with the guy today, and I'm paying $3,000 for a company that helps me build a B2B business and sell to companies different services. And these guys already done that. I see that these people achieve the results I want to achieve. And then I'm aspiring to be like them, so I want their mentorship. I don't try to learn everything by myself. This is the longer way. This is the way that will take you years and years. But the shorter path is to see who achieved your goal and go to him. And think about, if you're going for YouTube or for Udemy courses, these people didn't achieve what you want. If these people are not taking six-figure salary, for example, somebody who's taking a six-figure salary wouldn't sell his expertise for $10. Never happened. I never saw that. If you want to learn, if you want to be somebody who is an expert who has a six-figure salary, you need to get somebody who is there to guide you through. And I'm always open to guide, even for free sometimes. But if you really need my devotion, my time to actually help you through the weekly calls, through the Zoom calls, the VIP, this is the best way to get into this. And this training, It's really one of the best trainings I have ever created, and there's a big part of it is already done. At least all the slides or most of the slides are done. And this training is really super impressive because I see other red team trainings, and there is one that focus on red teaming operation, but they don't cover the malware development. They give you Cobalt Strike to use, which you will have to pay for it. Another training that's only focused on the malware development and leaving all the different other stuff. And you see them in Black Hat or on their website in Eventbrite, and they are with $3,000 or $4,000 and more. These are actually the real market. And what I decided to do is to create something that is full comprehensive. It helps you with the cloud, with the infrastructure. It helps you with all the attacks step by step, with bypassing detection, with writing your own malware, everything you really need. And I always have this with my trainings. I don't like to create small trainings, the beginner level and the intermediate level and the advanced level. No, I'll give you the whole path. I don't want somebody to be lost in the middle. I want the student to start with me and leave with a job or with the goal he wanted to achieve. And that's what I'm trying to give. So you have the full training. If you don't have the prerequisites in cybersecurity, you have the Kickstart Your Cybersecurity Career for free. You will receive it for free. You have the programmer mindset. If you don't have the programming skills, I will give you the programmer mindset so you have all the C++, and I start from complete zero, from the first line. If you don't know how to do even hello world, I start from there, and I help you think like a programmer. This is a training that I have built long time ago, and its price is 397. You will receive it for free for the first 30 students, or 29 now. The VIP call where I will be with you working on something together until you fully get all the support, even your own malware or something in your company, or wherever you want to achieve. It's a consultation one-on-one for 90 minutes with you, and it's only for the first five students, four students now, and you'll get the bi-weekly Zoom calls every second week, and you'll get the recording of all the previous calls and the next calls if you miss one. You can always ask questions and I will answer them in the call, and you can watch the recording in the Zoom call. If you are there, you're able to share your screen to ask questions, and I'll help you through anything you want. These Zoom calls are not limited by time. I just answer everyone questions, whether it takes 1 hour, 3 hours, 10 hours. I'm there until everybody is happy. And you will receive also a certificate from Maltrack with this course, in-depth red teaming, EBT, and advisory simulation. You receive all of that if you order today from maltrack.com/pre-order with the price of 997. And that the price of pre-order. Once the course is fully published, it will be 1,280. The course will be published fully in or will be live on October 29th of October. There will be some modules will be there, and then modules will be added all the time. I will make sure that you always have content that you are studying. I'm always there and help you through the whole process. Um, so I see somebody wants to substitute the purchase of the Maranat's course for this one. Reach out to me through email, and we can talk through that. Um, any other question, guys? Could we talk about it after the webinar is over? Yes, sure. You can send me an email about it. Um, so how much? It's basically 997. Um, I think I'm not seeing LinkedIn activities, if I'm right. Any other question, guys, before we finish? If there's no question, I will finish here. See you guys probably in the training. I hope to see all you guys there. Um, Ahmed is saying thank you very much. You are welcome so much. I hope you gain something from this presentation today. If you have any questions, reach out to me at amr.tabit@maltrack.com or from the Maltrack website. Um, Thank you very much. It was super informative. You are welcome. I hope to see you guys in the training as well. This training will be live on 29th of October. But once you subscribe, you'll get access to Kickstart Your Cybersecurity Career for free, and as well the Programmer Mindset for free as well. You'll get access to them right away, so you can start studying them until 29th of October, and then you will get access to the full training, and you can start with us step by step. It's good to start with everyone else, so you are actually continuing with them. um, Vivek is saying, I'm confused whatever to get for the OSP and your course. I'm kind of the midway. I don't want to talk about specific certification, but what I want to tell you is that there are so many people who are following that path of CH or SP or e-learning security and whatever. And there's so many people, far too many people are having this certificate. Either they really passed the exam or they have another way to pass the exam. If you really want to stand out, there is a different direction. If you have the preparation for SP, then you have already accumulated the knowledge. You don't need to go into taking the certificate and pay all of that money to take the certificate. If you already have the preparation, maybe that's the time to move into red teaming, because that's the thing that will make you stand out, make you a little bit different, more unique, and have more edge than the others who are applying for the same job. OSCP is a good certificate, it's a really good training and good labs as well, but that's what everybody's doing. And if you really have the knowledge, then the next step is to go into red teaming. Um, Very helpful. Appreciate your welcome. What about ICS or OT red teaming? I couldn't cover them today. It's already planned the presentation already. I'm sorry for not covering them. Maybe in the next presentation. Um, But red teaming jobs in general are in very high demand. And when you get into red teaming, you really need to learn the core fundamentals of red teaming first. Then you start to look into how I can have red teaming on other systems like ICS, like Swift protocol and ETMs and different things. But you need first to learn the core knowledge, and then you go into the next, the edge, the more things. When can I say it's enough penetration testing and it's time to move to red teaming? It's enough penetration testing if you already studied like CH or Bentest Plus or Security Plus. Maybe it's a time to start thinking about red teaming. Um, there are parts where you learn Metasploit and Kali, Linux, and this stuff. They are very useful and it's a good add, but you will relearn most of this information again in reteaming in a different way. Rather than you will be using Metasploit, you will be developing your own tool. So I would recommend that after you learn CH or Security Plus or Pentest Plus, to jump directly to reteaming. And you don't need to get the certificate of CH because it's not really that recognizable anymore, or Pentest Plus or Security Plus. You need to learn the knowledge and then move and jump into reteaming. And as well, we do cover in Kickstart Your Cybersecurity Career a really good intro as well. So that will be a really good app for you. Um, the great answer. Thank you very much. Um, I will finish here. If there is any last question, very helpful presentation. Thank you. You're always welcome. If there is any last question, I will cover now. If not, I will end the session. I will give you guys few minutes to ask any questions. For the slides, I will be sending the slides pretty soon, maybe tomorrow. I will be sending the slides. And guys, I really want to thank you for being here for this presentation. It's not, I don't take it lightly to stay 2 hours watching one person talking live. I'm really thankful for you being here today. I'm really thankful for listening until the end. Thank you, guys. I hope that is useful for you. I hope to see you again in the next live and the next and the next. And don't forget to open the next email from me. It will be from amar.tabit@maltrack.com because I will be sending the slides with all the links. Don't miss that. And see you in the next in the next webinar. See you in the training itself. See you in in-depth red teaming, and see you again. Bye bye.